Here we are. We're going to continue on. I don't know where to put me. I kind of like it up here somewhere. I guess this is all right. This is kind of like right in front of me. All right. Gets my eyes kind of straightened out. All right. We are continuing on in this wonderful gospel. We got these ideas about the soul. This is number 25 on here. This one here. It's a 7. Jesus said, love your friends like your own soul. All right. Well, this is your friend. Your soul is your friend. You're supposed to love them like your friend. Protect them like the pupil of your eye. Garbage. The pupil of your eye. It's really this idea that the pupil, and there's only one eye in there. Okay. And for the next couple of seconds here, we got more information to talk about with this eye. It says, Jesus said, if it says, you see the sliver in your friend's eye, but you don't see the timber in your own eye. When you take the timber out of your eye, then you will see well enough to remove the sliver from your friend's eye. All right, well, not getting too far out of context. It's really about you and your soul. All right, that's your little friend. Want to meet my little friend. When we can finally see correctly, can we then remove this from our friend as well? All right, and this is the idea that in this situation, it's about you and your soul. All right, because this is where the blindness comes. We'll continue with this. It says here, if you do not fast from, all right, wait, the sliver, do not the timber from your own eye. Okay. Number 27 here. All right. It says here, number 27, 7, 8, 9. This is a 9, a conscious number. It says, if you do not fast from the world, if you do not fast from the world, you will not find the Father's kingdom. If you do not observe the Sabbath as a Sabbath, you will not see the Father. Oh, well, this is just right up our alley, ain't it? Right? If you want to have this higher conscious, then you're going to have to recognize a few things. And one of them is that if you do not fast from this world, that means if you do not disconnect from it, if you are not circumcised from this lower mind, if you cannot raise yourself above this lower mind, the world, the earth, then you'll never see Father. All right? You'll never see Father's kingdom. All right? And that means you won't go, which is on the inside. You won't be able to get in there. All right? That's what it means. All right? If you do not observe the Sabbath as a Sabbath, which is a Sabbath is a day of rest, if you do not recognize that this chakra system within you is this way of becoming a child and being loosened from within and being brought up to mother and all that, if you do not understand any of this, you'll never make it into this other place. All right? It's pretty simple. All right? Jesus says, I took my stand in the midst of the world, and in flesh I appeared to them. This is the outside of us. All right? I found them all drunk. I did not find any of them thirsty. My soul ached for the children of humanity because they are blind. That's that stick in your eye. All right? And their hearts did not see. and in their hearts and did not see. They're blind in their hearts and do not see. For they come into the world empty, and they also seek to depart from it empty. All right, here's another one that's right up the alley that I talk about, that we come into this world empty. No one wants to go through any correction. No one wants to be justified. They're afraid to go through this judgment. They're scared, or they just don't recognize that it's in your hands. You have the power in your hands all this time. That's like having a gun in your hand or being weaponized. It's the sword. It's this hand. You're an armed man. While all of this is going on, you just don't know it. You have been brought down to a situation where you don't know shit about yourself. You don't know how great thou art, because you've been made to make fun of you for doing that. If you think of yourself, it's a tough world. My dyslexia can take it, taking on two things at one time is just what I do. All right. It says here, that was number, to Jesus, I took my stand in the midst of the world. This is the midst, is inside of us. We never see Jesus. He says, I appeared to them in the flesh. That's the outside. He says, but no, I found nobody out there. Everyone's drunk and crazy. It just means that nobody's following the word. Nobody's doing anything. All right. He says, you guys, it's just a shame that you came into this world empty, without anything, with just Father. And you want to leave this world the same way. So it's a shame, but that's what my teaching is about, is that there is a way to lick death. There's a way to bring ourselves above this. The Bible tells us how to do it. And if you don't have a way of telling how to do it, that's what I'm here for. I'm the helper. All right? Teach you how to look at things. All right, it says here, Jesus said, if the flesh came into being because of the Spirit, that is a marvel. But if the Spirit came into being because of the body, that is a marvel in itself. Yet I marvel at how great this wealth is. Wealth has come to dwell in such poverty. We're just talking about it. You just don't know how great and how beautiful things are. And just this is did you understand that? Did you catch any of this? About if the flesh came into being of the Spirit, that's a marvel. But if the Spirit comes from of the body, that's a marvel of marvels. All right, it's just because it just can't happen. But yet I marvel at how this great wealth has come to dwell in such poverty. This is Jesus, and this is 9, 10, 11. This is number 2, representing God's creation. Jesus said, number 30, it says, Jesus said, where there are 3 deities, they are divine. Where there are 2 or 1, I am with that one. So where the 3, they are divine, but where there are 2 or 1, I am with that one. So when you understand that this idea, this is like the earlier one, but when you can break this one into this one, into one, into one, into two, into that, into this, into this, it's kind of tough. But this idea that when you're bringing the 2 or the 1, this is when you're becoming one, then Jesus will be with that one. So will God. Everything will come and dwell with us. This is the best part of it. And it says down here, Jesus said, no prophet is welcome on his home turf. Doctors don't cure those who know them. This might be tough. Number 31 is a 4, and I will tell you this, that, if I'm considered a prophet by being connected to God, all right, that's no prophet is welcome in his home turf. Well, I live and a place that pretty much loves me in the real world, out here in Key West. But I do know that on the outside, people that don't know who I am as Rick Worth, don't know me as this teacher, and if I were to talk about these things, it can be upsetting to some people because this is what are you saying about Jesus? And I practice all the time out here, and I get all these people wanting to bash me over the head or something like that. So it becomes a situation where, you're not necessarily the outside favorite, that you are in a situation where you are bringing discord among the brethren. And that's what Jesus was put to death for, because he was causing discord among the brethren, because he was telling them, no, you're not following my word, you're following Father's word. You need to follow my word. And so what he was teaching out there was the beautiful side of the Bible, the part of us, the spiritual side. And it was causing conflict with those other people who thought of it and read it and treated it differently. And that's the problem. That's what we all have. Even with that story when Jonah was told to go to his neighbor and give him God's word, lest it be destroyed in 40 days. And so the situation is still fine. I don't want to save him. I don't want to help my neighbor. I hate to help my neighbor in a situation. So this sets us up on our trip to hide from God, to see what we can do without having to do this. And so he waited until he was thrown off the ship. This is jumping off the boat. Many people jump off these boats. Moses is found, not Moses, Noah is found outside of his boat in a tent, naked, drunk off the new wine. This is the whole idea that there's nothing separating between you and God anymore. All these things become one. Jesus comes and lives with you. God comes and lives with you. Mother's there. She's the wine, so just all having a great time, good old naked time, So this idea of no prophet is really welcome on his home turf. Is this idea that I very well am inviting myself to some kind of harm by speaking so openly about the spiritual side of our Bible. All right, so I'll let those go for a little while. There's plenty more. There's plenty more down here to decipher and talk about. All right. And they all will help tell more story, what's going on in the world. All right. I'll see you later.